the door while you still can.
On the important business.
Quick.
Yeah, God, lock the door. Yeah.
I'll probably run up quickly to give them kisses
Yeah,
goodnight.
totally
They
fine.
actually did go up, and not that tough of a.
Not that tough a nut.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a pushover. So.
Well,
here we're tough as nails.
Oh my goodness, run a tight ship.
Guys, can we have 15 more minutes, please? The kids are having a tough time going to bed.
We actually
Mannequin.
Yeah. The favorite stuffed dog had disappeared, and so what did these softies do? We had already sort of pre-socked away 2 replacement versions of the stuffed dog, and got one out.
Wow.
And in a moment of panic, I was like, "Oh, your grandmother put him in the wash. Look how clean he is. Good night."
Yeah, but guess who believed
Good
it?
You were like, "Isn't that sweet?"
Wow.
I touched it I was like,
what
really
wash cycle?
Nicely.
Wait, why is there a tag attached?
This guy ain't no dummy. He took those tags off.
He ain't no mannequin.
He ain't no mannequin over here.
Apparently a good poker face.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
Everybody was over it.
We're gonna see who has a good poker face when the dirty dog shows up somewhere
found
in the
by
corner.
him.
Yeah.
Parents, do you care to explain?
Yeah.
He will have a lot of follow-up questions
tomorrow. Oh my goodness! I will.
You'd be like, "Oh my God, they're multiplying!"
God, we're gonna have to find him wherever he is. Probably like under my chair right now. All right. Speaking of under chairs, the last session with in the Dorchester House, this facility in Boston, Massachusetts, that you understand is connected with Delta Green, connected with the organization, has been for years, and 30 odd years at this point, under the watchful eye of Dr. Richard Dolan. And you are there because you've been given this briefing, this mission, this operation, to look into the disappearance of 3 agents like you who went missing from Dorchester House under very unusual circumstances. And so you had a discussion with Dr. Dolan, got to ask a lot of questions, and then you went and spent some time interacting with Ed Myler-Wist, your new best friend, resident of the 3rd Ward, who, or Ward 3, who had some a number of interactions, but in particular a couple negative interactions with at least one of the missing agents, and he shared a few things. So in between the chatter, he shared that this other patient, Timothy Bale, who is an Iraq War vet, who is also in Ward 3, that Tim got along with the 3 agents, and it seemed like that was a key piece of information. Jason, I'll have you log into Roll20 when you get a chance. But Ed also had a little bit of information, or at least a note, a message to pass to Jack as you were walking out. hastily
Can
scroll.
you channel a little bit of Ed so that Jason can get a feel for him?
Oh God.
Please.
Oh, and Chris is heading out just specifically to put me on the spot and then leave.
He's like, will you do that
Will you
character
do
real quick?
this
Okay,
thing? I don't want to see it. I just want to experience it. Well, I don't want to.
Well, whenever the time is right, you can bring it back.
Right, exactly.
He and she,
I did have like 100 more questions
or
for
at first
him,
you think
so
he's
I
watching
plan
Judge Judy, but then you get
to follow up
this.
with him later.
My little reputation.
Let's see. All right. I'm just pulling that up there. What did you say?
I said I have hundreds more questions. for
Hundreds
him.
more questions. Oh God. Well, he's absorbed in Judge Judy right now, so
I get it. You can't be pulled away in the middle of the case.
that's right. No, he's a very, very intense fellow, and had this little notebook with him that he used to take down little bits of information about people that he met, like
You
your
wanted
favorite.
to know our lunch preferences.
Yeah, your
right?
lunch
That was
preference, like how you took your coffee, yeah, likes, dislikes, just any old thing that he could go ahead and sock away for later. You give a little, he gives a little. It's a beautiful world we live in.
Yeah. Felt
Sharing
reciprocal.
together. That's right.
And just
That's
very normal.
completely normal.
Book. Yeah, no, you caught me.
You missed it, but he did it, and it was great.
It was the best Ed you've ever seen.
It was even better than last time.
Oh yeah. Just really nailed it.
So my message might have been they are still here at night, which would be super creepy for other people to see me.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be nice.
I think it might have been. Like I had deja vu when I saw it.
Good call. Yep.
It helped me.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Exactly. So yeah. So you are. You are in Ward 3. The nurse, Esther Samagina, is there with you. And she's ready to help you out with whatever you need. Was there anyone else you wanted to visit? Did you need to see the rooms? What
All right. So we definitely.
what can I help
want
you
to
with?
See the rooms.
Yeah.
Wait. Sorry. You probably said this like 2 seconds ago, or when we first started talking about it, but Ed is not, as far as we know, Ed's not a Delta Green person.
No.
There's one Delta Green person left that you were, right? Or no?
So Ed, it seems like, is a bit unusual because he's not only not a Delta Green, former Delta Green operative or agent, but also he, this is a facility that, as I said, sort of specializes in PTSD or violence-related trauma, and he, from what you gathered at least, appears to have been implicated in this murder, multiple murders of family members at some point.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't know if we got any downtime. I know I was curious to try and Google more about the case because you said it was a relatively famous or well-known case.
Thank goodness it's 2015 where we can Google instead of having to go to the public library.
That's true.
30 years
Just gonna
ago or whatever.
pop out my phone.
Although now I'm trying to think. I believe.
And we're still on 3G, so
It's gonna be a little slow and spotty.
I think the rule is creepy homes like this, really, something interferes with the signal even more than, the 3G problem.
Yeah, when you came in, I just wanted to double check.
When we
gave
came
up
in, it
your
dropped like 3.5 bars.
I know. You left your. I do believe you still have your cell phones on you because I know you left your weapons, or most of your weapons, I should say.
Oh.
Oh, this little thing?
Yeah.
Forgot it was here.
Ping ping. And let me just double check. Yeah, contraband.
I could also pull out our old.
Yeah,
phone
your
and
big old
dial
phone.
information.
That's right.
I kept on thinking like we should test it out just so maybe we have some idea of what to expect. But I guess we're saving it for an emergency to see what it does.
So
just the right moment, the dramatic moment.
Save us!
Please. That's Cisco hold music. You do have your phones on you. So Willow, if you wanted to do a little googling real
I
quick.
would. I'm curious after talking to my new friend.
Yeah, so you put in Whist in Google, and the first thing that comes up is that a dictionary definition that Whist is the past tense and past participle of wit. But then you sort of scroll down and you see that Ed Whist, Edgar Myler Whist, it was born Ed Myler Guison, Guison, and he in 2010 on his 16th birthday murdered his father, his mother, and his sister with a shotgun, and became a well-known trial because of the family's obscene wealth. It was a well-covered trial in California, often called the poor little rich boy murderers in the press. And as I think maybe Dr. Dahlin had indicated, or Whist himself, he was able to plead not guilty by reason of insanity. And there appears to be a family trust that is still active. And there's still and you know that because you're looking through the articles. Just within the past 6 months, there have been a couple, not many, but a couple news reports about these multiple failed lawsuits by far-flung relatives to gain possession of the family's wealth. This trust that is hundreds of millions of dollars, and it did come into his care technically. It seems like there are a number of sort of technicalities as to how it's managed and administered, but there is a law firm, Keyes Norris, Ingalls and Grant, that appears to be the administrator of the trust and comes up, and so a representative of that firm is quoted as saying that they are responsible and have been carrying out the original intent of the Whist and Geeson families on behalf of the remaining beneficiaries. But it seems as if it's sort of it is what it is at this point. The suits are done, and the trust is enacted, and he technically is the beneficiary.
What did you say? The first entry was a definition,
Yes, whist.
which meant what again?
It's the past tense and past participle of wit.
Okay.
Which you're from Philadelphia means you get cheese whiz on your hoagie. So
Cheese whist.
so he means he previously ate cheese whiz
Yeah,
if he's from Philadelphia, which he wasn't.
if you're
so.
from Philadelphia.
It's regional, so it's.
But yeah, it seems like the two family names, Whist and Geeson.
Okay.
You aren't sure about the name, but he appears to be going by Ed Myler Whist now.
Cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're with the nurse.
Yep, you're with the nurse. Oh, and you had a question about the other patients who were Delta Green affiliated. So there was Dorothy Yale, who Dr. Dolan had indicated she is concerned as a sort of persistent concern regarding electronic devices, and Tom Peyote, who seemed convinced that he is serving time in hell. And there's some other individuals who are on the ward, but those are the ones who Dr. Dolan had.
Oh yeah, I see. I have some notes actually.
Can you show us your notes sheet again, real quick?
This is. I don't know if I'm getting lazier, but here's the first.
Oh, that looks
One.
tidy.
Oh, I like that. That's respectable. Oh, yeah.
I went smaller when I needed a second sheet.
Excellent.
I like it. I wish. We need a cork board right there, but next to your
Yeah,
head.
we do. Next time you log in, we're going to see a corkboard on the wall behind
You're like,
you.
that's creepier than any of the other notes up on our corkboard.
That's right. Is your personal corkboard.
Fire's like, what the hell is this? This doesn't look like it's about work.
Oh, good. Well, so what do we wanted to see the rooms, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Is that a good place to start?
And then, sorry, we could also potentially go talk to Dorothy and John, potentially. They're still here, right?
Yes.
All right, so I just can't wait for us to split up again, but I guess we can all check out the rooms first.
Yeah, and so you thinking about this, you would have a sense of a few things. One is, Dr. Dolan, you had a pretty complete conversation with him, and he shared what information there were a couple of things that you had asked that he said he would look into further. There was this name that he mentioned, Marbus, that had come up in some of the therapy sessions.
Best mentioned Marbus. Right?
There's Ed Whist and Timothy Bale, who seem notable. There are these other operatives. They don't seem to have been necessarily connected to the patients, missing patients, but those are two threads. And then there's other staff of the house, and this.
That's right. He was Dr. Dolan was gonna look more into those notes that mentioned the things that we said were all tied to what we experienced before.
Right.
Remember that? Yeah.
And then there's also something you've picked up on, Jack. You especially picked up on the level of security at this facility is quite high, and so
although there are no cameras in the individual.
No cameras in the rooms, right?
But in all the hallways and
all the hallways and common areas, correct? And so there is, you would suspect that there would be, a security room or some sort of at least computer access or server where the video logs, etc., would be located.
So was it also Bess Choja's room that had the writing that appeared to be in blood? Was that?
Yes, I believe that was Bess's room. Yeah.
Did they bother doing any sort of test of the writing to confirm that it was blood and whose blood it was? Yet, or do they not have the chance to do that?
They haven't said.
Is that something? Would Dr. Dolan be able to sort of make that happen? Would we be able to make that happen?
Potentially, yeah. You like the Dorchester house itself probably wouldn't have, or might not. You don't know for testing blood type. They may or may not have that capability, sort of in house. But it's certainly something you could look into. I mean, I imagine for a facility of their size, they would have some sort of I don't know that they would have a lab, but they might have that capability,
Right,
or at least be able to do it quickly.
I would like to, I guess maybe later on, maybe when we're at the rooms, as soon as I see it, I'd like to ask Esther if that's something that she could pass on the request to Dr. Dolan. I mean, I don't think we should just assume that it's Bess's. I think it would be good.
So you go over and you can see the rooms, and Esther brings you over, and they're sparse. It's the first thing you notice. You sort of few personal effects. The standard kit, or the unifying kit for them. You have blanket, sheet, pillow, slippers, very basic clothing. There are built-in restraints, and the rooms of the three patients aren't next to each other, but they're sort of proximal, on the same hallway, and so there are two of them separated by two other rooms, and then one on the other side of the hallway. And two of them are unremarkable. The third one is the one, Bess's room is the one that has this, the paper plastered up on the wall, sort of old newspaper, and it seems like a couple other sort of old printouts that have been stuck up on the wall, and this message written in blood on top of the paper.
All right, so now that we're there, I'll ask Esther if
she testing the blood. You don't think it's Bess's?
Well, it could be, but because we're investigating the disappearances, we want to confirm.
Very well.
If it appeared that night, then.
So she says, yes, we can, certainly, we can send that out and get it tested for you. I'm sure Dr. Dolan has said that you have whatever you need at your disposal. So hold on just a moment. Let me go speak with one of the orderlies. And she steps off for a moment and walks down the hallway and grabs the attention of this man wearing scrubs who's sort of walking around the corner. She grabs him and talks to him. He sort of glances over at you and he talks to Esther, and he nods, walks off, and Esther comes back and says, "Okay, no, we'll take care of that. That's fine." It usually takes, maybe no more than a day.
Okay, great. And then I look at, I try to conduct a pretty thorough search of her room. Like you said, there's not much there. There's, I guess, the blanket and the restraints and a little bit of clothing. But I look, under the mattress. I look, on the walls to see if any of the newspaper clippings make any sort of sense or seem related. To the extent there's any other furniture, I sort of, look through the furniture to see if there's anything else worth.
Yeah, and the other two, Willow and Jacob, are you just assisting with the search? How are you?
I think so. I'm wondering, like, what the condition of this stuff is, the restraints, the stuff in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it's so it's interesting. You look through, and a couple things that you notice. The restraints are well worn, but in good condition, and they're actually still sort of tightened, and you see that there's in Bess's room there does appear to be sort of spots of dried blood on the on some of the bed sheets, but not an excessive amount. And Jack, why don't you give me a roll? Why don't you give me a search roll? Is that something that we would have? Search,
See.
yeah. And you can roll that. Because you're getting help, you can roll that with a plus 20. Oof. Oh, dang.
Zing.
So, you are thoroughly going through.
No stone
this.
unturned.
Yeah, exactly. And you find a couple things with the assistance of Jacob and Willow, who are there with you. The first is in whose room? Let's see. In Albert's room. In Albert's room, you find a book tucked under the mattress. It is
our favorite book.
No, actually, not one you've seen before. It has a cover with it's a well-bound older book. You can tell instantly, relatively thin, but it is the cover is illustrated with a silhouette cutout of a man reclining on top of a shelf of books. And the book is called The Dreaming Man's Library. And you flip to the first couple pages, and you see that it was written by Lewis Lamb, published by Harcourt Brace in 1941. And there are no other illustrations or anything like that. But you flip through, and you can see that it's written in English, but you'd have to take a little bit of time to sort of get the gist of it. But you're thumbing through, and because of the search, I'll say that you're thumbing through, and you stop. Your finger sort of stops on one line in particular, and it seems to be a bit of dialogue between two characters who aren't identified. And the one person is saying, but why do you want to leave now? Now of all times. Surely you'll stay. And the other person responds, no, but please go. Let's swim down to the lake and see the spires. They're so beautiful at night. And I love to feel my toes dancing in the darkness while the beasts beneath swirl in the water. And the only other thing that you find of note is you're looking over Bess's room, and you see it looks like a piece of Dorchester House stationery. It has the heading on it. It's a printout, and the only text on it is a poem. The first line is, and he stood a while in thought, and then there's a break, and then more that's typed out. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought, so rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And then a couple line break. Stood a while in thought.
That was the Tum Tum tree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Vorpal sword?
Borpal? What was it?
Vorpal.
Vorpal. That's the sword that can kill the Jabberwocky, right?
Yeah, you recognize it as being from the poem Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll.
Nice. Nicely done.
I think it's somewhere else
like,
in these notes.
He's like, I recognize that from the Jabberwocky.
I've watched 3 different Disney iterations of Alice in Wonderland.
Interesting. Okay. So you were saying none of the rooms are directly next to each other?
No.
But they make what shape between them? Like a triangle? There's one across the hall? Okay.
Exactly.
And then
Go into the hall and stand in the center of that triangle. Do you notice anything?
You go out there and you stand.
He's triangulating.
Yeah, it's triangulating. Yeah, so you go out there and you stand right in the intersection, sort of between the 3 rooms. Jacob, give me a test. What test am I going to ask for here?
Go, Jacob. Go, Jacob. Go.
Go. I want you to give me an occult test.
No, wait.
Oh no.
You're standing out in the hallway, and every once in a while there's somebody who sort of walks by, and all you notice is that the floors are incredibly scuffed, and you can tell from the passage of many feet and sort of wheeled carts and things, but nothing that sort of catches your attention as you're looking between the rooms.
Hmm.
That was my big idea of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So where are Dorothy and John? Sorry, in relation to these three rooms.
Dorothy and John. Yeah, that's a good question. So you look out, and actually, Jacob, I'll say one more thing, which is that all the scuffing. You're looking at it, and you see that there's like scuffs moving up and down the hall, but then you see scuffs moving between the three rooms, sort of door to door, door to door,
Yep.
door to door. And that's what you take away from that. Yeah, the other patients of note are on one of the other hallways.
And what time of day is it now?
At this point, it's in the afternoon, so probably around 1 or so.
Did we get lunch? What's the lunch
Yeah.
situation?
Yeah, and we can.
We need
Is there a
to-
calf?
Yeah, there is. There's a little cafeteria downstairs that Nurse Samagina says she can bring you to.
Do you think we should try and look into the camera, like the footage? You said that was something that they had, right?
Yeah. You suspect they would, right?
Yeah, sorry. When you recapped, did you talk about whether anybody affirmatively said they reviewed and saw nothing, or no?
Yeah, they didn't see. So they said specifically that the three were accounted for during the count the evening prior, and it was in the morning that they went missing.
We're going to the tapes.
Yeah, I would like to avoid cafeteria food, but it seems to make sense for us to power through, I guess.
Hmm.
As long as there's chocolate, there must be chocolate pudding.
The Nurse Samagina assures you there will be. It may not be chocolate pudding day, but it could be butterscotch pudding day.
But definitely coming back tomorrow.
He does that suddenly when he hears butterscotch.
So she brings you down. It's and she, as you're walking, you take the secure elevator down and to the first floor, and Esther explains that the cafeteria was originally the gymnasium here. This place, it used to be a school, you know. And
School for
Go ahead. I was just saying, what kind of school?
Let's see here. It a boys' school built by the Archdiocese of Boston back in, I don't know, the turn of the century. This building's been here for a long time. But I think it may have been the gymnasium was used, I think, even after it stopped being a boys' school, and it may be a recreation center. I grew up in this area, and I remember my coming here for some basketball games back in the 60s. It was in the 80s that the Dr. Dallin opened the facility.
Did the school close, or what happened in between?
She sort of shrugs. I don't know.
I'm assuming there were allegations.
She sort of nothing Nothing sinister, as far as I know. Just changing times. And she ushers you in, and it's a. You can tell just by the shape and look of the room that it did used to be a gymnasium, and there have been the tables that have been put down, and a number of sort of blue plastic chairs that are situated around the tables, and over in what might have once been a locker room, it's been converted over to a kitchen. And there are some people at this point. It looks like a mixture of a couple patients and some staff who are sitting at tables. But at this point in the day, it's fairly sparse. But there are some uninspiring lunch meat sandwiches that are available. Small cups of butterscotch pudding, fruit cup, and your choice of soft drink on paper plate.
This is like a Coke or a Pepsi situation.
Sure, it's all sugar free.
Yeah, sugar free, caffeine free.
Ah. All right.
I accidentally knock over all the butterscotch pudding onto the floor and like, no, I don't do that.
No,
Whoa.
You guys got anything else in back?
You
Pudding. I do not do that.
you get the classic lunch lady look, just like
So don't even think
chocolate
about
puddings tomorrow, darling. Chocolate
it.
puddings
She
tomorrow.
gives me an extra scoop of the
Splat.
powder mashed potato.
If you want hot lunch, you need to be here an hour back. Right now, we only got sandwiches. Hon, you gotta watch the clock. Hot lunch, 12 to 1. You late, no hot lunch.
Thank you.
Good to know.
No problem, darling. No problem. So yeah, you can.
We're scooping up those sandwiches.
Exactly.
I'm
Fantastic.
scraping butterscotch pudding off the floor.
Yes, you're making nice on behalf of your ill-mannered compatriot.
No, I said I did not do that.
Jacob, what's your take on butterscotch pudding?
I'm not a big pudding fan in general. I'm more of a ice cream guy, but I know that melts, so understand the cafeteria situation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not high on my list of desserts.
Yeah, you ask and they say every once in a while they get those little hoodie cups in with the.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, with the little wooden spoon. But again,
my kids had that tonight. Actually.
Yeah, that's a special.
Everybody
treat.
needs a wooden spoon.
That's right. Great. So you spend a little time there. Do you? Nurse Samogina says she has other things she can attend to if you're fine with the lunch
So
for
I guess
now.
we could discuss a plan of attack while we're eating our sandwiches.
What's the scene around us?
Yeah, so there's this small group of attendants, like cafeteria attendants who are moving to and fro and cleaning up. It looks like things are, generally speaking, they're sort of cleaning for the end of the lunch, the lunch period, and you can see at a couple points like stuff being moved around to seemingly prep for dinner, and you also see that there are a number of wheeled carts that must be being ready to eventually take on the meals for patients or staff upstairs in the 2 other levels. So folks who may not come down to this particular floor.
Does it seem like they have like a lower shelf and then like some kind of fabric covering so I could like hide, do a classic like sitcom like hide under the cart situation.
It would take.
That only works in the 90s. We're past the 90s.
Wrong decade.
You could theoretically hide yourself in one of the carts, but you'd need somebody. The person wheeling it would probably need to be in the know, because otherwise you're not sure how you'd pass muster as a bunch of trays of butterscotch pudding.
Okay. Just something I'm just putting it out there while we're having these sandwiches.
That's right. Yeah, well, there are these covers, seemingly to keep the hot part of the hot lunch intact, or hot dinner.
Okay, good. Where are we in relation to where the security office is?
So when you asked Esther about it before she left, she said it is in fact on the first floor.
Okay. So maybe we try and stop there after we have plentiful butterscotch pudding.
Exactly.
I think we need to be here at night for the note and remembering how things became different last time at night. Not eager to see how that plays out, but I think we want to try and find these 3 people. If we believe the note, then
should we ask her if they have any vacancies for the evening?
we definitely not want to say it that way. I like to check myself in.
Yeah, seriously. No, I agree. I think that we need to have some kind of coverage at night.
I don't like how you said that, coverage. I'm not going to be there.
I mean, somebody's got to be here. There's 3 of us, so.
We left one behind by themselves. That would be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What else do we need to make sure we do?
Maybe check out the two other people, also, right?
Yeah. Well, so you've finished up with your cold lunch, your sandwiches, and you feel like you're ready. Right, there may be a couple more people to talk to. That sure, you maybe want to swing by the security room, and there may be these other pieces, threads that you want to follow. I mean, nobody said that you can't sort of stick around if you want to.
Right, we're still waiting to hear back from Dr. Dallin on what he unearths.
Right.
Looking at the records.
So where would you guys like to go together to?
I think we could split up. It's like 1 p.m. in the afternoon, right?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Not a challenge. It's
yeah, it's probably closer to 2 at this point.
Closer to, right, sorry.
The sun is starting to set in Boston. We can split up.
I was thinking, even though we have plenty of time, we could potentially divide and conquer by trying to observe the 2 remaining patients and look at the security, try and look at the security stuff, and maybe interview, whoever's at the station, security station.
Yeah. All right. So who's going to go where?
Do you have a preference, Willem?
mean, I'd go. I'm really curious about the tapes, so I'd probably be inclined to go that way first.
All right, Jacob, do you have a preference as to what you'd like to do?
I don't.
No preference.
No preference.
Okay.
Well, we could divide up the two of us and go try to observe each of the two, Dorothy and John, depending on what the nurse says we can do.
Right. Yeah. Excellent. All right. So, you and Jacob, do you want to do so? It seems like Willow, you're gonna go to the security station. Jack, you're gonna go upstairs to sort of follow up with a couple of the folks up there. Jacob, do you have a preference as to who you travel with?
I'll go with Eddie.
Okay, with Eddie. All right, head upstairs. So you go back out to the main station, and the sort of feel like it's like partially welcome station, partially security desk at the front entrance, where you had stowed your weapons, and they the orderly there directs that he can call up to the third floor and have them waiting for you up there. He was not sure if Nurse Samachina is still available, but somebody will help you out. And he goes over and tags the door for you with his card, and he puts you on the elevator up. And then Willow, he says, Michael Devon is over in the security station. I'll bring you over there. And he walks you over, and there is this secure door that the orderly buzzes you through. And inside, it looks like there's two rooms that are connected by a door. And in the first room, there is sort of a set of computer servers, and some. It looks like a number of filing cabinets, and maybe even a sort of station for checking in like time cards. So this must be sort of the main sort of security office, and you go over very quickly. There's this young man who comes out from the other room, and you can see in the other room it's a little bit, the lights are dimmer, but there's sort of flickering lights on the wall. And the orderly says, Michael, this is Dr. Dahlin has said that this individual is helping with the missing patients. If you could help her out. And Michael says, "Oh yeah, sure. Here, whatever you need. I was actually on duty when they disappeared, so I'm happy to help." And he ushers you into the other room, where you see there's this 2-seat security station with 16 screens, computer terminal, and all of these controls for fire suppression systems, locks, cameras. Whole 9 yards, as well as it appears like a motion detector board for exterior security and like fence, etc. And so he sort of brings you in and says, whatever I can help you with, just let me know.
This is really something here. How do you manage and oversee all this?
Oh, I mean, I'm not in charge of it. Like we have a couple chiefs who rotate through, who oversee it all. Like Chief Monroe is out right now making the rounds of the exterior. Every day we got to check the fence. There's a whole checklist. Like Dr. Dolan is a real stickler for detail. Like you got to make sure you're, like not just checking the boxes. You actually it makes a difference. You know, keeping people safe around here. That's our job. But there's no reason that anyone needs to get out. Anybody needs to come in without Dr. Dolan knowing it.
Is it pretty mundane? I mean, I know you have a lot to check off on your list,
Yeah.
but how often are there incidents or things that pop up?
I mean, incidents. There's like, I mean, the most I've ever been involved with is every now and again you get like a bump that you got to go back and make sure that you notate. Like sometimes we go off count, but it's always just a little bit of usually somebody's left in the wrong room, or they're back in one of the common areas and they just didn't get back to the room. It's usually never a big issue. Yeah.
But you said Dolan calls the shots.
Oh yeah, no, Dr. Dolan. He's in charge of everything. He's very meticulous.
Yeah, how so?
I mean, he, the chiefs meet with him on the regular, and we're always getting instructions if it seems like anyone's slacking, or we've had guys who they maybe go out for a cigarette break or something like that when they're not supposed to, out of the hut out front or something like that. Dolan finds out and you're out of here. Like you get the boot. Like you gotta do your job when you're supposed to do it the way it's supposed to be done, or else you're out of here.
He sounds pretty tough.
Yeah, but hey, he's the boss. Do what he say, everything's fine.
So you were here the night of the disappearance?
Yeah.
Who else was with you?
So let's see. You mean in here?
Yeah.
I was the only one. I was on cameras that night. Let's see. When counts were going on. Jeez. I think Chief Baker was in that night, and yeah, I was the only one on cameras when the count in happened. And then I was around for count out, and that's when the whole thing, like, shit hit the fan. We had a full lockdown.
It'd be great if we could see. I know there's cameras in the halls.
Yeah.
It'd be great if we could go back and see the footage from around the time, maybe just prior to when you think the disappearance might have been.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let me pull it up for you. And so he begins to type on the computer and start to pull up the files. Computer things. Meanwhile, Jack and Jacob, you get out on the third floor, and a different orderly is waiting there for you. It's he introduces himself as Richard Bryce, Richie Bryce, and he comes over and says, Nurse Samagina, had some other business she needed to take care of. How can I help you? What do you need to see?
We'd like to observe Dorothy and John and maybe interview them potentially.
Dorothy and John. Okay.
Dorothy Yale and John Page.
Sure.
Dorothy
and-
what?
What's that?
Dorothy Gale, is that her name?
Dorothy Yale.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so Richie says, yeah, sure. Right over here. Dorothy's in her room. I think John's in session right now, so he's won't be available to talk for a little while. But he brings you over and to a door and knocks on the door and opens it. And there's this older, dark-haired woman inside who's sitting reading a book. And she looks up. She has this wide face with a very sort of worried look on it. And she instantly, hello? No phones in here, please. Just no phones. You two, your phones. If you could just leave them outside.
Which one of us has the phone?
You do.
I do.
Yeah.
You hide it under your shirt. You're like, okay, we got rid of all.
Right under my shirt. I really don't want to part with that. I'll part with my own phone, but try to conceal that thing somehow.
Well, I think it'd be great if we both interview her, but one or the two of us could step out with the phones.
Yeah. I'm only to step out with the phones. You know?
Okay. So you step out with that, yeah.
I don't think we want to part with that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a good call.
All right.
He's taking all the phones. We respect your sensitivity.
Yeah.
Why don't you like the phones?
She looks at orderly Bryce. I just don't like them. I don't like the noises they make.
Beep boop boop beep boop boop boop.
Like that noise.
Unfortunately, when I wrote notes about her, I can't read my own handwriting. She hears the dead through election democracies. I'm not really sure.
Electronic devices. Election
democracies.
That's right.
Very pro-democracy.
Let me see if I can make that more. Nope, I can't make it. I mean, that does make sense given her request to get rid of the phones. Crack interview skills. What would Willow ask right now?
What would Willow do?
Right.
Find out what shows she likes to watch.
Well, I assume you stay away from the TV. Is it all electronic devices that
Yeah, I don't watch TV anymore. I don't watch it.
No. You only
not since they started to talk to me through it.
When was that? When did that start?
And she gives orderly Bryce another look. Just a time ago.
Could I try to I don't know if you've been informed, Orderly Bryce, but we're here to investigate the disappearances. So I show my badge and ask if I could speak to her one-on-one for a couple minutes.
He says, sure. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I'll wait over here.
If you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Just given the dynamics of you're an authority figure in this building, and she may be willing to share more with me if you're not.
Yeah. No. That's fine. Whatever you need. I'm just gonna stand over here. I can't just leave you. I hope you understand.
That's fine.
I'll just step off to the
I
side.
understand.
And he steps to the other side of the hallway. Dorothy's looking at you still with this.
I asked, is this better? Is it easier for you to maybe share a little bit if it's not both of us sort of interviewing?
Yeah. Richie's good. He's a nice kid. He just doesn't get it.
For what it's worth, me and my colleagues have had a similar background to you, if that is helpful.
You've been out to the opera.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. The guarded look sort of lessens a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's not my thing anymore. I appreciate the peace and quiet now, when I can get it.
Certainly understand that. I had thought I was done as well until we were asked to help try to discover what happened to a few of the other guests here, a few of the other residents here.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't know them really well.
You didn't?
I
never really spoke to them?
Only a little bit. I do know one thing about them.
What is that?
I know they aren't dead.
We certainly hope they're not dead.
No, they would.
How do you know they're not dead? Because they haven't talked to you?
They'd be trying to. The ones who are new, the ones who just crossed over, they try the hardest to talk to me. They have a lot more to say. And I haven't heard them at all, even yelling down the hallway. Even, and she sort of screws up her eyes. She says, the big phone that your friend has. Even the voice there isn't theirs.
There's a voice, though.
Yeah, there's a voice.
What did it say? Can you tell who it is?
No. It's asking me if I want anything, though. If I need anything? I don't know.
That's interesting because that phone is supposed to help us if we need it.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
So you haven't seen anything out of the ordinary here. You don't really know much about it.
She starts to chuckle under her breath. Anything out of the ordinary in this place? No, I mean, I don't know. The other people here, some know, like you and me, and some don't. And sometimes it's hard to tell who's who, but eventually you can figure it out. It's the look in the eyes they have. You can really tell they've really seen shit.
And can you think of anybody else like that? Are there a lot of people here that have seen what we've seen? Is there just a few?
You know, Bale isn't one of ours, but sometimes I get the feeling like he should be. I don't know. He's got a lot going on.
You said Gale?
Bale.
Bale.
Tim.
And he's another resident?
Yeah. He's a friendly one. He might know more. I keep to myself. I don't like to leave the room if I don't have to.
How about any of the orderlies or other staff? Have any of them seen things?
Dr. Dolan's seen a lot. I don't know how he keeps it together, but he's been here forever.
I think he's trying to help people like you and people like the people who disappeared. I think he may understand a little bit what you're going through.
Yeah. Well, if there's anything else I can do, let me know, but I think I'd like to get back to my book now.
What are you reading?
Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, I like that book. What part are you? What section are you in right now? What is Alice doing?
She just fell down the hole into Wonderland. I'm rereading it. I think it's my 12th time.
12th time. Wow. And did you know Albert read that book?
Albert?
Did
he? Yeah. Albert borrowed it from me. He said there was something important he needed to look up. Albert liked to read a lot.
All right, well, if you think of anything else that could help us in our search.
So she says he actually marked up my book. I was really upset.
Could I see what he marked up? Any clue could help us find him.
And she said, sure. And she passes it over to you. She sort of flips to a later page back in the book. And you see that it's a section you recall is the trial, Alice's trial. And there's a particular section that's been underlined in red pen. And all right so far, said the king, and he went on muttering over the verses to himself. We know it to be true. I gave her one, they gave him two. They all returned from him to you. So these are separate lines that are underlined across the page.
That's certainly not a lot to go on, huh?
No. Like I said, I was really upset. I don't like people marking up my books.
I understand that. And then I try to flip through to the poem to see if anything is marked there.
No. So the poem actually would be in a different portion, or a different poem altogether. That'd be from the Jabberwocky poem.
No, I know, but I thought that was also included. No, that's not included in Alice Wonderland. All right. Well, thank you very much. If you think of anything else, please.
Of course.
Ask for us.
Meanwhile, down in the security room, Willow, you are going through the footage with Michael, and he you wanted to look at the time before the disappearance?
Yeah, I think some of the, not just going right to when we think it happens, but backing up a bit.
Sure. And so go back and you can see it's footage from different angles, different cameras going down the different hallways of the third floor and other parts of the facility. And the camera views will sometimes switch between, one camera to another. They'll sort of turn over. And you're watching, and it's just, you see patients moving to and fro. You see staff moving around. He says, is there anything you want to look at in particular?
So I'd like to be able to identify each of them at some point, like figure out when the last time is they're each spotted in the available footage. Yeah. Can you identify individuals in the footage?
Yeah, sure. and so he's watching, and you see a figure uh, with you see a figure with brown hair, sort of a woman with brown hair, walking up the hallway away from the camera. Uh, he's like, yeah, I think that's one of them. And then the camera, he sort of fast forwards. Let's see if I can get a better view. And he looks, and he sort of switches over to the other camera, and the figure with the brown hair is going around a corner. And just as she's going around a corner, like the camera flips over to another view, and he's like, okay, here, let me try. And he's fast forwarding and moving around, and there's a man with sort of short hair, a little bit tallish, who's walking along, and he's like, "Oh, wait here. Yeah, let me try. Okay." And he's manipulating the board. He's like, "Sorry, it's really complicated. It's a little bit tricky sometimes. A lot of cameras." And he's going through and sort of fast forwarding over, and there are a couple of like glitches that'll happen every now and again, where a camera view will sort of fritz and they'll be static. He's like, yeah, sorry, the system, like, we've been meaning to get it fixed up, but there's sometimes disk errors that happen, but here, let me just fast forward right past.
How often does that happen?
I mean, every so often, but it seems like it's just something with a system like this that has so much data being pulled down at such a high rate. It's kind of inevitable you get a little bit of loss, and sort of cascaded glitches with the backups and the updates and everything.
How much do you think it affects what you're able to see?
Well, I mean, we certainly, like, the live footage is fine. It's just the recorded footage that sometimes gets a little wonky, And he's sort of going through, and he's like, well, here, let me go to the count in that night, and he sort of spools through, fast forwards, and you can see it's sort of a long view of a hallway, and you see patients sort of heading into their rooms, a couple of them, and then staff sort of standing in the hallway and then walking from each room to room. And you see head nurse Samagina coming down and doing another spot check, and she has a little board with her, and she check and looking, and all the doors are closed, and you see her sort of signal down the hallway, and the lights in the hall dim. He's like, yeah, that was the check-in, and we have footage of everyone going into the rooms, and Dr. Dolan checked that himself, and head nurse Samagina also made sure that she reported that her notes have everyone in that night.
What do you know about the nurse?
What do I know about her? I mean, she's been here maybe not as long as Dr. Dolan, but an awfully long time, as long as I've been here. So I think she started here like just as a nurse, but worked her way up to be head nurse. But yeah, she's been here for ages. I mean, in some ways, she, Dr. Dolan, like, sets the tone, but it's Nurse Samagina that really, like, cracks the whip, And he says, here, hold on a sec. I'm gonna be right back. I just I gotta take a whiz. And he gets up and leaves you at the board for a second.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. And he the footage from the footage keeps cycling through on the cameras above you, and you can see it's dark hallways of the facility at this point, and for the most part empty passages, and but at one point you see one of the camera stills is of Dr. Dahlin leaving his office, and he has on this windbreaker that very obviously has like a Red Sox logo on it, and he walks out of his door and turns around and locks the office door, and he walks away, and you sort of lose sight of him off camera, and you're watching and cycling through, and all of a sudden you see what looks to be a shot from the third floor, a view of one of the hallways, leading to a door, and there's a flash of white as somebody wearing like a white gown or like smock or something, can't quite tell because of the darkness and the visibility, sort of comes into view and is sort of walking slowly down the hallway, and you look more closely as you sort of see the figure sort of moving back and forth, almost like hopping from foot to foot, and then sort of spinning in place, like pirouetting on a toe, and then turning and looking back at the camera, and you see that the figure has blood on the front of this white dress or smock, whatever it is, and it's a woman with darker hair, and looking closely, it looks just like Poppy, and she looks dead at the camera and gives this big smile and waves, and then sort of runs off down the rest of the hallway, right through the door and out of view.
Was the security guard looking over your shoulder while that was on
He's
the screen?
in the bathroom still.
Of course.
Oh boy.
And
Ay.
so that is where I think we will leave it for tonight.
Thanks.
Oh, I didn't even notice you posted it to our board until I looked over.
Oh, I shouldn't look at that, should I?
Yeah, that's what your sister looked like?
That's terrible. She had sort of a weird fashion sense. She was always wearing these white smocks. These blood-stained white smocks. Yeah, it's a look.
I bet she likes to walk around with the hair all
Very chic, exactly.
over her face,
Mm-hmm.
obscuring.
She was always bugging me. She's like, "Would I look good with bangs? Here, let me show you. I'll try it. Just everywhere." Oof. Okay. Well, we got a few threads here.
You got a few threads. You got a few things. You got some
Something's
stuff.
going on. We have some something in the oven. I don't know.
The good news is tomorrow's chocolate pudding day, and that makes everything better.
Phew.
So if
We're
you
gonna make it through being here or somewhere till tomorrow, though. So just so he can get his pudding.
that's right. That's right.
Right.
What will live for?
They're still here at night, if that's accurate. Like, is that like 7:30 p.m.? Does that qualify, or do we have to be like midnight?
You do know that sundown at this point is probably around 7:30, 8 p.m. Yeah, in that range.
Okay.
Something tells me you're not going to be volunteering to do the overnight after looking through the security tapes.
Probably won't be jumping at the chance.
Leaping
Yeah.
and pirouetting.
Yeah, that's right. With my bangs. All right. Whew. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys. We'll make a plan for next time. You can figure out what if you wanna hang out for a while, continue to talk to folks before bedtime. Which, by the way, you do know that generally speaking, the counts tend to happen around 7-ish.
Lights out at 7. Sweet.
So, yeah.
Do we know is the nurse there is Nurse Simagino there overnight?
No, not that you're aware. If you think
Okay.
this sort of the shift would generally.
They do the check-in. Everybody's supposedly in their rooms, and then
Okay.
then it's skeletally staffed, I guess, so to speak. You might want to talk to Dorothy Yale and see if she's bring an electronic and see if she can reach out to Poppy, or we could have asked her about Vic.
Your old friend
True.
Vic.
Good call.
MIA.
Let's just torture her a little bit, I guess.
That's right.
Have you heard
You have a line of visitors. We have a series.
She's like looking at her watch, like, who else do you need to talk to? Come on, man. I don't have all day.
All right. Well, this was nice.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Any outing where I didn't lose sanity is good outing.
I know. Which I'll have to Willow follow up with you about that start of next session.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, and Jack as well for the butterscotch pudding incident.
He's still coming down.
Being
off
confronted.
Of that.
Yeah, exactly. With the awful dessert treat. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good night and good weekend.
Yeah, you guys too.
Thank you.
Okay.